They say every cloud has a silver lining. But actually, I like clouds. And I like natural clouds, not those silver lining man-made clouds. However, I don't want to get off the subject, and that is government health care. And the silver lining that I'm seeing is that since they're talking about, let's say, not necessarily providing things or as many things that people abuse and overuse, you see, I don't like big government any more than anybody else who's responsible does. However, I guess there is a place for big government when you have a huge population of people now living on this planet. So the silver lining would be, if they're going to stop providing so many unnecessary tests and procedures, well, one of those things that people use and abuse, or should I say abuse their children with, is genital mutilation. That's the removal of the foreskin, the inner and outer skin of the gland's penis. I see that as a huge abuse. It's a human rights issue. It's your birthright to have your body parts. So I'm thinking, okay, well, if these stupid, ignorant people want to do this, put them on a waiting list. And then in 18 years later, when the child's 18, they can have it done. And then the government would pay for it if there's a reason, if there's a medical reason. Other than that, the child does not need to have a retractable foreskin. It's not necessary. If you're going to have rough sex, maybe, but I don't think children need to be having rough sex. So I think their foreskin should be left alone and intact. And the foreskin actually is part of the immune system. It's something that people don't even realize nowadays. Just like with, back when everyone used to smoke, nobody realized that smoking cigarettes was actually harmful for your health. If you would tell someone that, they would laugh at you and say, oh yeah, right, even doctors didn't believe that cigarette smoking was harmful. Well now, I'm trying to tell, you and a lot of people are trying to tell most people that this removing of the foreskin on the genitals is harmful for their health. It causes all kinds of problems. It can even cause death. Babies have hemorrhaged to death, and you won't even know it. Your baby will just be, like in a coma. You'll think, oh, he's sleeping, but he'll be in a coma, and you won't even know it. And then the next day he'll be dead, and there'll be like some blood there, and it won't even look like, that it was enough to kill it. But babies don't have a lot of blood to lose. So it's a sick thing that what Americans do to their sons. Yeah, sure, the rate's gone down over the years, but it should be at zero. That's how I see it, zero. So if you want to mutilate your son, you're going to go on a waiting list, and then 18 years later, if your son wants to, but I'm sure he won't want to, because in Europe almost nobody, does that, and they don't, when they get older, they don't go out and do it. There's no reason to. It's a very sensitive part of the body. It's like cutting your eyelids off or your fingertips. It's just mutilation. There's no reason for it. We don't cut our eyelids off because we get sleepers in our eyes. We clean our eyes and we wash our face and we clean our eyes in the morning. It's the same with foreskin. You can just clean it if you don't want, any, should I say, I don't know, dampness or moisture or dead skin cells or whatever. If you don't want, those white dead skin cells that are supposed to shed off the gland, because if they don't shed, if the skin cells don't shed, then it gets calloused. It turns like a grayish or a dullish. It's not, the head of the penis is not supposed to be dull. It's supposed to be shiny. because the skin cells are continually shedding off. But when you take the skin away from the gland, it gets dry, and then the cells don't shed anymore. So it's kind of like similar to removing your eyelids. Your eyes would just dry up, and you wouldn't produce tears or anything anymore. So that's how I see it. It's just mutilation, complete, outright mutilation of a helpless, innocent baby, child that cannot say anything about it. And that's wrong, because there's no need for it. And like I said, babies, hundreds of babies die. They die every year, hundreds, and you don't hear about it. It's not going to be on the 5 o'clock news. What do you think they're going to tell you that? Of course they're not going to tell you that, because someone's making money off of it. Anyway, I don't think helpless baby boys deserve that kind of treatment. If you want to do it when you're 18 and know what you're doing. Know the consequences. Know the difference. Know what you had. Know what you're not going to have. Be informed. And stop trespassing on babies just because you think that they belong to you. They don't. Babies don't belong. Just because you have a child doesn't mean it's your property. It doesn't belong to you. They are their own individual human with their own human rights and their own minds and their own ideas about things. It's not you. You should not live your life through your children. You should let your children be who they are and discover who they are and be their own person. And we'd have a lot less problems in this world if people did that. Let people live their lives as long as they're not hurting anybody else. That's how I see it. So that's my hope. If anything, with government health care, we could put an end to this senseless mutilation of young babies in the U.S. Take care.